Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode. This is your host, David Kim. Hi, Ken. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like you're doing a very interesting business, right? Repossession of an airplane, the remarketing airplane, right? So they're flying in the sky. So how can you repossess the airplane? That's my first questions.
Well, we have to wait for them to land and pull over. But once they do, the challenge is how do we move them? Because we don't know if they're airworthy
Yes.
stuff. So, yeah, we get them on the ground, let the owners get out, and then we just jump right in.
Nice. Yes. Airline business is a very highly regulated business. So I can imagine a lot of protocol and the regulation you need to follow, right? Comply with.
Yes, absolutely. And the interesting thing is in the United States, especially, there's so many different types of airports depending on the traffic, and each airport has a little bit different rules. So, for example, there are some airports that have no towers.
Hmm.
So you kind of got to regulate yourself as a pilot, where others are international airports and there's a million different regulations. So we've got to know the different rules for each type of airport we go into.
Yeah. How do you, find the location? Like for example, some airline owner, they default loan and obligation, then it's in the default, then the lender or the investor going through the legal process, they ask you to the repossess, right? That's the basically process I can imagine. Then how can you identify where is located, where the airplane is located?
Yeah, that is the challenge. And I'm a licensed private investigator, which gives me access to a lot of different information, more information. Um, Generally speaking, you'll start out by trying to track flights if they let you. A lot of the tail numbers are blocked here, so you can't track it. That's another problem. The show has actually helped us out a lot because now there's a whole wealth of people that want to help us. So I can go on social media and say, hey, is there anybody in Aspen, Colorado that can help me out? Or is there anyone in, Philadelphia or wherever? And people will reach out. And before I even have to leave my office, I can have spotters go check for me. So
Okay.
it helps us out a lot, but it's a lot of undercover stuff, a lot of quiet stuff, and trying to get that information.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially if the airline is located in the very small and like a small airport and middle of nowhere, right? Then it's going to be more complicated, right?
Yes, completely separate issues that we deal with. The thing is, with a small airport,
Mm-hmm.
the owner of the aircraft is usually good friends with the airport. So they're going to
Yes,
try and block us.
right,
Now we've got a new issue altogether.
right.
So, but yeah, I mean, everyone has its problems. Um, we just try and get there as quickly and safely as we can
Hmm.
and then move it. And sometimes we do it well, and sometimes we're surprised.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Every situation is different. Yeah,
Every single one. Yep.
yeah. Uh, I'm looking at description of your business model. We have repossessed over 2,000 asset airplane in 10 years, and then handling the insurance salvage and subrogation cases for many insurance company. Yeah, I understand the subrogation for the insurance and then repossess the 2000 airplane in 10 years. What do you mean by handling insurance salvage? Salvage. How do you salvage
So,
it? Yeah.
so if an aircraft gets in an accident, has flood damage, something like that, because we're licensed brokers and can sell the aircraft, and we've gone through the process, we actually put into place a process with the U.S. government how to evaluate these airplanes. So we took that model, went to the insurance companies, and said, "Tell us where the asset is that has an insurance issue. We'll do all the pictures and we'll tell you what the value of the aircraft is," which then allows them to go through the whole insurance process from their side. So we can sell these salvage things for them, get them some money back on the insurance claim. We can also help them assess the value once there's an insurance claim.
I got you. Now I understand. So in the shipping business, so if people say the salvage, like usually is a ship is like a sunk into the
Yes.
ocean, or they have accident, right? So cannot move the ship to somewhere. Then is they have a special equipment like a submersible the whatever, right, barge or
Yep.
something that they and then take it back, and then they move to the place where the customer wants, right? That's
Yes.
a they call it salvage business or salvage vessel, right?
Exactly. And I know a lot of the tow companies
Yeah.
look for those salvage cases because they can make more money on salvage than they can doing 50 tows. So it's the same idea, but there's not obviously not as much moving around of as salvaged aircraft as there are
Mm-hmm.
with vessels. So that's why we focus on the airplanes.
Gotcha. In fact, my previous background was a leasing guy. I did leasing almost 30 years. So I'm very familiar with repossession and remarketing. We used to have I worked for the General Electric before, so used to have a team, the remarketing group. They repossess equipment and then remarket the equipment, something like that. So I'm very
Yes. And
familiar with.
I used to work for Chrysler Financial
Mm,
repossessing cars.
right.
From Chrysler side, I would call the repo companies. I do the collections and try and get them to repo the cars. Then I flip to doing the repossessions myself. So I've worked
Yeah.
both sides of this too. Yep,
Got you.
it's a fun
So
business.
yes, based on the my experience, I heard that repossessing the car was not really car, like a equipment, like a vehicle, like a construction or the timbering equipment, something like that. That is the most hardest part, right? Because bit of nowhere in the jungle, sometimes that we
Oh
send
my
the
goodness.
people, but as you said, that they behave like mafia. Then what I understand and learn from my staff in the emerging market, they usually hire the ex-policeman and military guy, or the incumbent military guy. Take it back.
Yes, yes, and that is you're right. When you talk about the personality, and we have that issue with boats and airplanes too. When the debtor is making money, that's their mode of income is the aircraft or the boat. So, for example, if there's a guy that owns a 60-foot yacht and he takes people charter fishing every day, that's his income. So if I take his boat, I've taken his business. And
Right.
those are always the biggest, most difficult cases because they're fighting for more than just the boat. They're fighting for their business.
Right.
And that's the challenge. What you're talking about, the timber vehicles and all that. I mean, you're shutting down businesses,
Right.
and that's a different. You're dealing with a different mentality. Obviously, we've repossessed a lot of cargo ships. 600, 800,000 foot long. You're dealing with entire businesses at that point, and it just gets much more challenging for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Uh, do you have a lot of player in the ecosystem who are that are engaged in repossession and remarketing of airplane in US?
No, there's us, and there might be one other company. Really, there's a lot of people that have seen the show and think they can do it,
I
but they've
see.
always had big problems with it. There's very very few companies that do this,
Mm,
especially the remarketing side.
okay. Right. Right. Remarketing is should know the market and then have a contact and network with all the potential buyer, right?
Yes, and
Otherwise,
it's different with the repos too because that's its own little market.
right.
Um, because a lot of people think, oh, repo airplane, I can get it for 10 cents on the dollar. Well, that's not what we're trying to do.
Yes.
So we're dealing with a sophisticated buyer. And so to your point, getting to the sophisticated buyer that knows repossessed airplanes is a real challenge at times, but we've been at it now for 15 or 16 years. We have the TV show, so people know who we are, and it's much easier because of that.
Yes. Yeah. When I run and had like a human leasing business in the past, we are contacted so many individual broker, as you just mentioned. They claim that they know the market, they know the buyer, but at the end of the day, I can feel that 95% of those people they don't have a contact, and then they
Yep.
want to speak to another broker. I mean, the
Yep.
self-proclaimed broker, not really broker, self-proclaimed
Uh-huh.
broker. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we actually don't like dealing with other brokers very much unless we know the broker,
Yes.
because like you're saying, they'll mess up and ruin more deals than they'll assist with,
Mm.
because they're just trying to make money. They're not trying to get a good deal for both sides. They're just trying to make a couple dollars. So we're really careful dealing with other brokers. Some are great, some are fantastic, but some are just nightmares, and we push them aside.
Right. So we are living in a very strange time, challenging time now, worldwide. I mean, global pandemic. So how has the pandemic impacted your business? I can see that a lot of airline businesses, the airline and the parked at the airport, right? They don't have passengers because many countries locked down or something like that. So I can imagine you may have some new opportunity as well as some new challenges. So can you tell us how the COVID-19 has impacted your business?
Sure. So for the most part, in the last year or so, banks have not really repossessed airplanes and boats. So we actually have not had much to do. So I've taken the time that we've been down, and we actually invented a light that kills COVID, a UVC light. So we've got a state of the art light, and we're showing it to aviation, trying to help them get back on their feet. But this light is proven to kill COVID in under a second.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we didn't sit here and waste our time. I partnered up with a guy named Mike Bernhardt, and two guys from school, and we invented this light, and then we just kept developing it. So we're talking to some huge corporations. We're trying to get people to stop using the chemicals that they've been using to disinfect, because they're causing a whole lot of issues on the road. We've got a UVC light, and it just came back from lab testing, a new lab yesterday, and it's proven within a second it kills COVID. And it'll kill other viruses. You can put it in the HVAC system.
What is the base case? Do you recommend your customer or buyer of that, the equipment or something install inside the airplane or where?
This light,
Hmm.
the light can be used in an HVAC system for cleaning the air.
Okay.
This one's bigger. It weighs 12 pounds. The next one is 6 pounds. So this is good for cleaning the inside of an airplane. It's good for cleaning hotel rooms. It's good for, we've done a lot of yachts with it.
So they don't need to install it. They don't need to install it.
In the HVAC, we install it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, it goes up there and it gets installed. The rest of the time, you just put it on the cleaning cart, and you can clean any office building. And
like a vacuum cleaner. They can use something as if they are using the vacuum cleaner, right?
Exactly right. And it has a battery, but you can also plug it in, so it can go either way. So we've been spending a lot of time over the last 14 months with the light, and we've actually instituted that as a procedure for any repossession we do. Because imagine, we're going into these airplanes. We don't know who's been in them. We don't know what's going on with them. So we say, before you go, do your thing on an airplane, put on a mask, because we don't know the air quality, and go disinfect the inside of the airplane. It takes an extra 6 minutes or so for us, but to know that the aircraft is disinfected properly makes it comfortable, so the pilots can fly it, and all of us can jump on. So
how much does it cost to buy it?
The retail for the bigger one is 10,000 US. The smaller one is 8,000 US. Which comparatively,
I'm just thinking, because you are in the airline business, that's why you're thinking about the customer in the airline industry. But the large restaurant or retail chain, they're a huge business, and if they installed this kind of things, they can use as a PR, right? We are the infection free.
Absolutely. So we're talking to an international restaurant, about doing this. And what we found out is if they install the two in the HVAC, in the heating, ventilation, air conditioning system for clean air, and use one for surfaces, if they buy 3 for every single one of their stores, they're going to save $5 billion in 3 years by getting rid of the pesticides.
Yeah.
Disinfectants are just pesticides. It's all there.
Yeah. Because of my background, when I hear what you explain, I'm thinking about you should provide a captive financing, vendor financing. Then claim that customer buyer doesn't need to pay the $10,000 upfront. You can pay $50, $100 a month.
We've got financing available.
Right. I mean,
Yeah, if somebody,
that kind of story is much easier to sell, right?
yes, yes. So yeah, and like the car dealer will tell you 19,999,
Mhm.
and then in smaller that's 350 a month, but only if you get certain credit scores, and you know how it works in the leasing
Yes,
business.
yes.
Um, but
So,
yeah, well, I mean, we do financing on it
mm,
for sure.
right. Very interesting. Interesting. So, in the market, airplane, the repossession remarketing business, how do you differentiate IRD against others? What is your sales story to the customer?
Well, honestly, I mean, we have a 95% recovery rate. So that's
Okay.
number one. Your first question was, how do you find these things?
Right.
Right. Well, that's what we're good at. Okay. And obviously, we've gotten better with the show because we have more people that will help us and keep it quiet. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I've been in this business. I was making the collection calls. I'm trying to get the debtors and say, make your payments, and then calling the repo. So I understand their business well. And the most important thing is, we do a really good job of selling, remarketing these aircraft and vessels. So we can get more money than anybody else because we've got more exposure, right? The TV show has made it so more people know our company than any other one in the world. So it's easier for Ford to sell a car top dollar than it is some smaller known company, right?
Right.
Coke sells more soda because you know their name. IRG is the number one name in specialty asset repossessions, aircraft repossessions. There's a reason why we are. So I just that's kind of our our sales pitch. That's
Right.
why us.
Yeah. What is your business model? How do you charge your customer based on the value of equipment you recover, repossess?
So the way we do it now, originally we did it a certain way, but then if you remember, the economy kind of fell apart in 2007, 2008, 2009. So we redid our entire pricing model at that point. We charge very little for a repossession. Somewhere in the $400 to $700, maybe $1,000, depending on how difficult it is. We just want to be able to sell the asset, and then we charge
Okay.
a reduced commission. But if we're getting a commission on a $3 million sale, I don't need to worry so much about the repo fee, right?
Right.
Um, so we've been gearing more banks, leasing companies, attorneys towards, let us go through the whole process. Basically, you tell us, I need to pick up this airplane. We'll handle everything for you, sell the airplane, and give you the money at the end. That way we get a commission. So the pricing is strongly based on gearing the fees towards the remarketing at the end. Lower fees up front. Let's do a remarketing, and then everybody's happy at that point.
Yeah, sounds like a good strategy, right? We need to get the customer in first, whatever we do, and then we can cross sell something else to make more money, right?
Right. And you were saying at the leasing company too, you were dealing with brokers, right? Brokers can be difficult to find.
Right.
If a bank or a leasing company can call IRG and say, you handle everything, right? Just give me the check for the sale at the end, and we're happy. That's what they want to do. And if
Yes.
we can free them from that burden, let them work on collecting other loans that are past due, right? And then we just give them a check, then we're actually providing a quality service to the bank, to the leasing company.
Agree. You are offering to solve the entire problem, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Some
Yes.
people say that I can fix a little bit. I can check the temperature, and, I mean, headache, whatever. But if patients complain about the other issues, say that, oh no, I'm the ENT doctor. You should go to the internal
Yes.
doctor. That's a typical situation for the customer get embarrassed, right?
Yes. Yes. We're trying to be a one-stop shop, as we say.
Okay. Very good. Very good business model. So is your business growing during the pandemic or slowing down a little bit?
It's slowing down a lot.
A lot.
Like I said, yeah, because the banks it doesn't look good to do repossessions. So they have not done many. And again, we just kind of shifted our energy towards the UVC light.
Okay.
Because if the pandemic is having that dramatic an impact,
Yes.
why don't we try and have that dramatic an impact by fighting the pandemic,
Yeah.
doing it safely, using the power of the sun, no chemicals. Like let's safely and efficiently fight the pandemic. So we've kind of decided, I'm from Philadelphia and we're known for being fighters. So we're not real good about accepting the fight. We want to take the fight to you. And so since this is going on, the repo business is kind of slowed down. We're fighting the pandemic as hard as we can, safely and efficiently.
So you're pivoting your business model, amid the pandemic as well.
Yes.
Okay. And that's you call it UVC disinfector? What do you call it?
The name of the product is called the Hurricane.
Hurricane? Okay.
Yep. So it's a UVC light, 900 watts in a 5-inch circle. It just, every test comes back that it's the strongest light of its kind out there. And to be able to eradicate the viruses, whether it's COVID, whether it's flu, whether it's some other virus, to do it in a second,
Yes.
unheard of.
Yeah, sounds like a great solution.
We hope so. We just got to get the word out.
Yes, yeah. Get promote the idea, and then sell them in the market, and expand into a different type of customer base. Yeah, that's the plan, right?
It's a lot. It's a real challenge, but it's been a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah, I finished most of the questions. So thank you very much taking time to share your interesting business model and your expertise, and then the solution you're providing for your customer in the market.
Thank you, David. I really enjoyed talking with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, share with your friends, and drop me a review. Goodbye.